Very good morning, students. For this lecturing video session, I am going to start up a new unit. That is a third unit, projections of solids. The previous unit, that was unit 2, I taught you or explain in detail about projections of points, straight lines and plane surfaces. See, as far as projections of point is concerned, it was dimensionless object, right? Point doesn't have any dimension. See, when you talk about projections of straight line, it is a one-dimensional object which has only length alone. When you talk about projections of plane surfaces, it has two dimensions, length and breadth. The thickness is negligible, isn't it? Then what about solids? Projection of solid. A solid is defined as an object having three dimensions, namely length, breadth and height or thickness, measured along the three mutual perpendicular axes. Right. See, further the solid is classified into three. Solid is classified into three, namely polyhedra or polyhedron. Polyhedra or polyhedron. The solids of revolution. Solids of revolution. And the third one is frustrum. Frustrums and truncated solids. That is, solid is classified into three, namely polyhedra or polyhedron, solids of revolution, and the third one is frustrums and truncated solid. What do you mean by polyhedra or polyhedron? A solid which is bounded by plane surfaces, that is faces, is called polyhedra or polyhedron. This polyhedra is further classified into, subdivided into three. It is been subdivided into three. Regular polyhedra, prism, and the third one is pyramid. Right. So let me just explain you the definition of regular polyhedra. Regular polyhedra is nothing but if all the faces of polyhedron having same size and same shape, which is nothing but regular polyhedra. This regular polyhedra further classified into five. It is further classified into five. That is hexahedron. The other name of hexahedron is cube or cube. Next one is tetrahedron. The third one is octahedron. And the fourth one is dodecahedron. And the final, that is the last one, the fifth one is isohedron. So let me just explain one by one. What do you mean by hexahedron or cube? Have you seen cube? This is a cube. It has 6 faces, right? So it has 6 equal regular squares. Look at here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All sides of equal regular squares. These are faces. These are faces. And these are corners. Corners are nothing but the intersection of edges is corner. These are corners. These are corners. This is top face or this is top face. This is this is bottom base, right? Or simply it can be called as base, right? These are faces and these are edges, that is longer edges. These are edges. Edge is nothing but the intersection of the faces, right? And let's move to hexa is nothing but it has 6 equal regular squares, that is nothing but cube. Tetrahedron has 4 equal triangular faces, that is equilateral triangular faces. It has 4 equilateral triangular faces. Look at here, this is tetrahedron. These are faces. These are faces. Look at here, all the 4 sides of equilateral triangle, right? Then octahedron. Octam is 8, right? It has 8 equal triangular, that is equilateral triangular faces. Then dodecahedron. Dodecahedron is nothing but the solid is formed by 12 equal polyhedron faces. Yes. So octa is nothing but with 8 equilateral triangular faces. Dodecahedron has 12 equal regular polyhedron faces. Then isocahedron. This solid is formed by 20 equilateral triangular faces, right? Hexa has 6 faces of square. Tetra 4 equilateral triangle. Octa is 8 equilateral triangular faces. Dodecahedron 12 equal regular polyhedron face. Poly is nothing but polyhedron is this pentagon. Pentagonal faces. Pentagon has 5 sides, right? See, isocahedron, it has 20 equal regular, that is equilateral triangular faces, right? This comes under regular polyhedra. Let's move to prism. By the way, what is prism? A prism is a polyhedron having 2 equal size, that is shape, which are parallel to each other. That is nothing but the top face and bottom face, parallel to each other and joined by other faces, which may be rectangular or parallelogram. For an example, let me just show the prism. So this is top face, this is bottom face or base, right? Look at here, this shape, this of square. So top face and bottom face of equal shape, which are parallel to each other and joined by the other faces, which may be rectangle or parallelograms, right? See, the nomenclature of the prism is, this is top face, this is bottom face or base. These are rectangular face or lateral face, right, or parallel face. These are corners. That is, corner is nothing but the intersection of edges. This is the edge, right? So intersection of edge is nothing but corner. Then what about edge? This is a line of intersection of faces. These are edges. These are edges, right? This is called base edge. These are corners. This is nothing but rectangular face. That is rectangle face or parallel face or lateral face, right? Then axis. Axis is nothing but an imaginary line joining the center of the top face and center of the bottom face. That is axis. Right. Now, see, the prism is named according to the shape of its base. So, look at here, this base is square, therefore, this is called square prism. If the shape is pentagon, the base side is pentagon, therefore, this is called what? This pentagonal prism, right? And if the object has hexagon, the base is hexagon, and this is called hexagonal prism, triangular prism and rectangular prism, right? So, prism is nothing but prism is a polyhedron having two equal shape which has parallel to each other, that base is parallel to each other and joining by the other faces, which may be rectangle or parallelogram, right? This has rectangle prism, square prism, then triangular prism, then pentagonal prism, then hexagonal prism, pentagonal, triangular prism, right? Prism is named according to the shape of the base. So, the base is square, then it is called square prism, right? Let's move to pyramid. What do you mean by pyramid? A pyramid is a polyhedron having a plane figure as its base and number of equal isosceles triangle meeting at a point which is called apex or vertex. So, this is a pyramid, right? Look at here, the base is of square shape. So, this is called square pyramid. The topmost point, this is nothing but the apex or vertex, right? These are triangular faces or slant faces. This edge is slant edge and this is the base. Pyramid has only one base, right? Prism has two faces, that is top face and bottom face. Both are parallel to each other and shape and size, everything similar to it. When you talk about pyramid, the top it is apex or vertex. So, these are the triangular, this is isosceles triangular faces which are meeting at one point. This is apex, right? This is slant edge. And the axis, the line joining the apex and the center of the base, that is an imaginary line connecting the apex and the center of the base is nothing but the axis. So, these are the nomenclature of pyramid, right? And pyramid is also named according to the shape of the base. Here, look at the shape. This is a square. Therefore, this is a square pyramid. If the base is pentagon, that is 5 sides, then therefore, this is called pentagonal pyramid. If the base shape is hexagon, that is 6 sides, then this is a hexagonal pyramid. If the base is triangle, then triangular pyramid. If it is rectangle, the base is rectangle, then rectangular pyramid. So, this is further classified into square pyramid, that is square, then rectangle pyramid, then triangle pyramid, then pentagon, and the last is hexagonal pyramid. Got it? So, I have taught you the polyhedra or polyhedron. Let's move to solids of revolution. Let's move to solids of revolution. What do you mean by solids of revolution? If the plane surface is revolved about one of the edges fixed, the solid which is generated is called solids of revolution. That is nothing but if the plane surface is revolved about one of the edges fixed, the solid which is generated is called solids of revolution. See, under solids of revolution, this solid of revolution further classified into three. It is classified into three, that is cylinder, regular circular cylinder, next regular circular cone, and the sphere. The definition of cylinder is nothing but if a solid is generated by the revolution of rectangle about one of its edges fixed is called cylinder. For an example, this is a triangle, this is a rectangle, right? If I keep this as fixed, and start rotating, this edge is fixed and this edge I start revolving it or rotating it, the solid which is formed is nothing but the cylinder, right? This is what cylinder. Look at here, it's a circular cross section. The top face and bottom face of uniform shape and size. These are generators. Cylinder doesn't have any corner or edge or sides, right? These are generator. Then what about axis? An imaginary line joining the center of the top face and bottom face is nothing but the axis. Base is nothing but the resting face, which is resting, right? This is the bottom base, face or whatever, right? So, by the way, by rotating the rectangle, keeping one of its edge fixed and start revolving it, the cylinder is formed. This is the object, right? Let's move to cone. The definition of cone: if the solid is formed or generated by the revolution of right angle triangle, right? One of the perpendicular edge is fixed. Suppose, assume this is the right angle triangle, right? I am going to keep the perpendicular edge as fixed, and start revolving it or rotating it. The shape which is formed is nothing but the cone. This is the cone, right? When you just start rotating this, you will get the solid which is nothing but the cone. This point is apex, right? And this is the base, bottom base, and the line joining the apex and the center of the base is nothing but the axis. And these are generators. What do you mean by generator? A straight line which is drawn from the apex to the on the circumference of the base is nothing but the generator, right? And this length is nothing but the generator length, that is nothing but the slant height. That is the length of the generator from apex to the base, that is nothing but the slant height, right? So this is nothing but cone. Then what about sphere? A solid which is generated by the revolution of semicircle, keeping one side as fixed and about to rotate on the axis. Assume this is a semicircle. I am going to fix the side and assume this is an axis. I am going to revolve it or rotate it. By doing so, a solid is formed, that is nothing but the sphere. Got it? Right. Next, let's move to the third classification of solid, which is nothing but the frustums and truncated solids. By the way, what do you mean by frustum? When a pyramid or cone is cut by the cutting plane, and the upper portion to be removed and the remaining lower portion thus obtained is called the frustum of cone or a frustum of a pyramid. Assume this is a square pyramid, right? Suppose I use a cutting plane. The plane means two-dimensional object. Assume as a knife which has length and breadth, right? If I cut parallel to the cutting plane, parallel to the base, if I cut it and remove the upper portion, right? Remove the upper portion, the lower portion, that is the remaining lower portion is the frustum of a pyramid. Suppose a cone, I am going to cut this cone by using cutting plane, and the cutting plane is parallel to the base. If I cut it and remove the top portion, and the remaining lower portion is nothing but the frustum of a cone. Let me just draw a 3D for your understanding. Suppose it's a cone, right? Assume this is a cone. This is a cone. Now, this is the center, right? This is the center. I am going to cut in this manner, that is parallel to the base. If I cut it, if this particular portion has been removed, the shape which is obtained, look at here, this is nothing but a frustum of a cone. That means the cutting plane or the sectional plane which is parallel to the base, right? Then what about the truncated solid? Truncated solid. Frustum is cutting plane is parallel to the base, right? When you talk about truncated solids, if the solids, what are the solids? The prism, pyramid, cylinder or cones are solids, right? When the solid is cut by the cutting plane or section plane, now the cutting plane angle that is inclined to its base. So as far as frustum is concerned, cutting plane was parallel to the base. When it comes to truncated solids, the cutting plane will be inclined to the base and remove the top portion, and the remained lower portion thus obtained is nothing but the truncated solid, right? This is what. Assume this is a knife. If I cut the cutting, assume this is a cutting plane, right? Now I am just cutting this cone at incline which is inclined with the base, right? If I cut it, this is nothing but the truncated solid. This is nothing but the truncated solid. So suppose this is the cone. Assume this is a cone. If I cut with some inclination with base, the shape which I obtain would be something like this ellipse, right? So this would be inclined. Frustum is nothing but the cutting plane was parallel to the base. When it comes to truncated solids, the cutting plane should be inclined to the base. So by this I have finished the classifications of solids, right? Then now next I am going to teach you the various positions of the solids, So as far as plane is concerned, I have taught you 6 various positions, right? Similarly, line also I have taught you 6 various positions and points. Totally there were 4 different positions. When it comes to solids, it has 6 various positions. The various positions of solids. Positions of solids. The various positions. The first one, here when you talk about solids, projection of solids, here always the refer to axis, right? For plane, we always refer to the plane surface, right? Here we refer to axis. Here the axis is perpendicular. Axis is perpendicular to HP and parallel to VP. The second one, axis is perpendicular to VP and parallel to HP. Third one, the axis is parallel to both HP and VP. HP and VP. The fourth one, axis is inclined. Axis is inclined to HP and parallel to VP. Right. Fifth one, the axis is inclined to VP and parallel to HP. The last one, axis is inclined to both HP and VP. Right. I am going to draw the projections for your better understanding. Right. So let me just start with the condition 1 here, and I am going to take the object as square, the square prism. Right. What it says, axis is perpendicular to HP and parallel to VP. What do you mean by axis? An imaginary line joining the center of the top face and the bottom face. That is called axis. Right. Right. Now, see, as far as projections of plane surface is concerned, where you will get the true shape? Where the surface, that plane surface is parallel to plane, that is any one of the plane. If the surface is parallel to HP, then you will see the true shape on HP. If the plane surface is parallel to VP, then you will see the true shape on VP. When it comes to solid, it is totally different. When the axis is perpendicular to any one of the plane, there you will get the true shape. If I keep the object in this manner, now the axis, that is imaginary line, which is perpendicular, right? Perpendicular to HP and parallel to VP. Assume the board as VP and my hand as horizontal plane HP. If I position in this manner, the axis which is perpendicular, which is making 90° with HP, and this axis is parallel to VP. Now, where the axis is perpendicular to the HP, there you will see the true shape. What do you mean true shape? This square. Right. The prism is named according to the base of the shape of the base. Right. Here the base is square, therefore this is called square prism. Right. Now I am going to draw. I am going to draw two views. Right. X, Y, this is nothing but the reference line. VP, HP. Assume this side as 30 mm and height, that is axis height or altitude or length, whatever, maybe 60 mm. Right. Side of the square is 30 mm. This is how I have positioned here. Where I will see the true shape. When you look at from the front, you could see the rectangle shape. But whether it is a square shape, no. When I look at from the top, I could see a square on the HP. Therefore, I need to start the diagram on HP. So, of side 30 mm, draw 30, 30, 30. Now, when I look at from the top, I could see this square shape. And behind this another one base, that is the bottom face, is invisible when I look at from the top. So, I have to name this as A, B, C, D as visible corners. And what about the bottom face corners, which are invisible? So, invisible things needs to be captured within the bracket. So, let me just give different name PQRS. P, Q, R, S. This is what. This is the top view, right? Now, in order to draw the front view, I need to project the visible edges or non-visible edges or invisible vertically upwards. What about the height of the prism, which is 60 mm? From the reference line, take 60 mm and draw a rectangle. So, when you look at from the front, you could see the rectangle. So, I have given the name A, B, C, D, P, Q, R, S. When you look at from the front, what are the things are visible? That corners are visible. A, B are visible, right? A is on the top. So, therefore, A dash, B dash are visible. Here it is named as PQ. Therefore, P is visible and Q is visible. What about C and D? C is right behind B. Therefore, C is invisible. D is right behind A. Therefore, D is invisible. What about S? S is right behind P. Therefore, S is invisible. What about R? R is right behind Q, therefore R is invisible. Got it? So, you have to just remember is, when you look at from the top, you could see the true shape of the object, that is nothing but the square, and all the corners A, B, C, D is named as, the top face is named A, B, C, D, and bottom face is named as P, Q, R, S. Right? This is how the projection could be. Right? So, in order to show the axis, how this can be drawn? Suppose axis you want to specify, you just connect the diagonals. This diagonals. This is the center. The center you just extend it. Center should be denoted in this manner, right? So, you need not to do here. So, just for the purpose of this thing, I am just telling you this is how the center needs to be drawn. Let's move to the second condition. Let's move to second condition. What it says? The axis is perpendicular to VP and parallel to HP. Let me just draw the XY line. Above XY it's VP and below XY is HP. Now, let me just take the square prism as example. Here, the axis is perpendicular to VP. If I keep the objects in this manner, now the axis is perpendicular to HP. Suppose if I keep the object in this manner, the axis is perpendicular to VP and this axis is parallel to HP. So, this is how I am going to draw. Where you will get the true shape of this object? Where the axis is perpendicular. The axis is perpendicular to VP, therefore, you will get the true shape on VP. Right, this is how. Let me just give this name as A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. When you look at from the front of size 30, I could see in this manner. A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash. What about the rear face, which also has the square in shape, right? Those are invisible. So, let me just give the naming for this. P dash, Q dash, R dash and S dash. Right? This is how it is. So, A, B, C, D, P, Q, R, S. In order to get the top view, I need to project it vertically, the projectors. Now what is the height of the axis? That is 60 mm. So take 60 from the reference line and draw a rectangle. When you look at from the top, I could see a rectangle. I have given the naming as A, B, C, D, P, Q, R, S. When you look at from the top, what are the corners would be visible? C and D are visible. When you look at from here, this portion comes down, right? CD is here, RS is here. When you look at from the top, CD would be visible, so would be here. So this could be C and this could be D. What about the visible edge? The back side, which is R and S. So this could be R and this could be S. And what about the other four corners? When you look at from the top, A and B are invisible. A and B are invisible, which needs to be captured within the bracket. And what about PQ? PQ is right behind S and R, right? So that needs to be captured within the bracket. P and this could be Q. Clear? Here, as far as solid is concerned, where the axis is perpendicular, there you will get the true shape of the object. Got it? Right. Let me just move to the third position. So, which is the axis is parallel to both VP and HP. Right. So, I thought the true shape would be visible where the axis is perpendicular. In which plane the axis is perpendicular, there you will get the true shape. See, as far as this condition is concerned, axis is parallel to both HP and VP. Then where you will see the true shape. When the axis is parallel, this is how, let me just take this object. So this is the axis, right? Now the axis is parallel to HP and parallel to VP. But the axis is perpendicular to the profile plane or the auxiliary plane, right? So I have to start from the side view. When you look at from the side, you could see the square shape. From there, I am going to start the diagram. So that condition, axis is parallel, right? Axis is parallel to both the planes. So VP, HP. Now I am just keeping this object in this manner. Let me just give the naming A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, P, Q, R, S in this manner. So right behind A, that is P, right behind B, that is Q, right behind C, that is R, right behind D, that is S. So when I look at from the right side of this object, see, as far as first angle projection is concerned, when you look at from the right, the image would be captured in the left side, right? So this is the square. I have got it. Right? This is a square. When I look at from the side A, B, C, D, right? So this could be A double dash, because in order to differentiate the view, so B double dash, C double dash, D double dash. What about P, Q, R, S? Those are invisible, right behind it. So P, Q, R, S, right? So when this is how this object is. When you look at from the front, you could see the rectangle shape, and the length is 60 mm. The size, that is the side is 30, right? Let me just project this vertically, right? Now take 60 mm. And draw this, right? So now I have to I am going to give the naming for this. When you look at from the top, this corner has been named A, B, C, D. So C is visible, C dash is visible, and D dash visible. Then B right behind C, therefore this could be B dash. And A is right behind D, therefore this could be A dash. When I going to give the naming for the rear face, that is PQRS. So R is visible, and S is visible. What about P and Q? P is right behind S, therefore P is invisible. And Q is right behind R, therefore Q is invisible. Right. Now, when I look at from the top, I could see a rectangle shape. Right. I have drawn this, but I could see the length. So length would be this much. Right. But what about the side? That I need to take it from the side view. So in the orthographic projection, I have taught you by drawing the 45-degree angle to get the side view, right? Here the true shape is in the side view, therefore I have to take the information by drawing the 45-degree line. By drawing 45-degree line, let me just project it, and horizontally let me just project it. By doing so, I'll get the top view of this object. When I look at from the top, right? Sorry, here the naming is something different. That is the top view. I have mentioned it by mistakenly. So let me just give the, because it's a front view, right? So A is visible, B, C, and A and D are visible. A dash and D dash are visible. That is B is right behind and C is right behind. Similarly here, P, Q, R, S. P and Q, S are visible, R is invisible, Q is invisible. Right. So this is the front view, right? When I look at from the top, now see the intersection lines. It's very easy to plot these intersections, right? So here, look at here. Let me just take A first. So A is here. Where A? A is here. So this could be A. B is here. Let me just take B. B and B are intersecting here. Therefore, this could be B. Look at C. C is here. Here. So C would be, when you just look at from here, this would be A, B, right? A, B, C, D. This is invisible, right? Because right behind, so this needs to be captured within the bracket. And what about D and C? C would be here, so C is visible and D is visible. And P, Q, R, S. R, S are visible. R, the intersection, look at here, R and R are getting intersecting here. And what about S? Look at here, S and S are getting intersected, so this could be S. And look at P. P, where is P? Here, here. P and P are getting intersected, which is behind S, therefore which is invisible. Then Q. Q and Q are getting intersected here. Q is invisible because that is right behind R. So this is the projection for the condition axis is parallel to both HP and VP, right? And when you talk about the next position, that is position 4 and 5, we use the term that is nothing but the change in position method we use. Where we used the change in position method? In the plane surfaces, right? Change in position method we use. Position method. Because the axis is inclined, right? And this sixth position doesn't cover in our syllabus. So fourth and fifth only we will solve problems based on condition 4 and 5. So for the introduction thing, I'll just give brief idea about where the true shape will be obtained and how the axis will be tilted. In a separate videos, I will teach you with problems by solving the condition 4 and 5, right? So condition number 4 and 5, here the condition, the axis is inclined to HP and parallel to VP. So this is what? For an example, if a take the hexagon, this is a hexagonal prism. What do you mean by axis? This is a line joining, an imaginary line joining the center of the top face and bottom face. That is nothing but the imaginary line. So assume this is an imaginary line. This is the axis. Here, the axis is inclined to HP. So if I take in this manner, this is axis. Assume this is axis. Now axis is inclined to HP. Now it is making some inclination with HP. Where would you see the true shape? I can't see anything from the top view or the front view or the side view, the true shape, because the axis is inclined. The axis is inclined, therefore I can't see it. So initial assumption should be, I allow to keep the axis perpendicular to any one of the plane. So this is making some inclination. If I keep in this position, this axis is making some, that is 90 degree with HP, therefore it is perpendicular to HP. So when the axis is perpendicular to HP, you will get the top view on HP. That is the true shape, you will get it. So where the axis is perpendicular, there you will have to draw it. So condition 4 and 5, in a detailed manner, I will give the lecturing videos in different formats, right, by solving all the problems. So I will give some explanation, that is a brief idea about the steps here. So there will be two stages. There will be two stages. The first stage is symbol position. Symbol position. The second stage, which is axis inclination or final position, whatever. Axis inclination or final position. See, as far as this object is concerned, I have to keep the axis perpendicular to any one of the plane, therefore I will get the true shape. Where the if the true shape is obtained on HP, here the axis is perpendicular. Axis is perpendicular to HP, I will see the true shape here. If the axis is perpendicular to VP, if I keep in this position, I will see the true shape on VP. So remember this, where the axis is perpendicular, there you will see the true shape. And when it comes to axis inclination, if the axis is inclined in this manner, axis, it is making some inclination with HP. Therefore, here the axis is inclined. Axis is inclined to HP. You will see the traces here. There is a projections here. If the axis is inclined, that is, this is axis, right, is inclined to VP, now you will see the top view on HP. So axis, where the axis is inclined, there you will see the inclined, there is a final views. So remember this, these are the two stages, you will have to remember it. So as far as plane surface is concerned, three stages: symbol position, surface inclination, and third position, that is edge inclination or special conditions, right? When it comes to projections of solids, two stages in order to solve the fourth and fifth conditions, which covers our syllabus. 6 doesn't cover in our syllabus. So here for fourth and fifth condition, the first stage is symbol position, where you will have to keep the axis perpendicular to any one of the plane. When it comes to axis inclined, that is the second stage, the axis is inclined, right? So by this you would have understood the projections of solids, right? So in the upcoming videos, I will explain in detail about the condition 4 and 5 by solving the problems. Thank you.